Good evening from New York. The topic tonight: following a political Jesus who wants to rule a nation with punishing laws may not be a figure that can heal minds in nations. Well, whatever you think of the title. That's, there's this Christian nationalism springing up. There's a lot of problems with that idea. And it doesn't seem to represent the kind of Jesus that heals minds and guides toward a greater morality. For one thing, Jesus didn't go around twisting arms and saying, "Believe or else." Not really. And remember some of the things that he did, He spoke of the law of the Old Testament as something that needed to come, that needed to go away, that needed to be fulfilled. Well, laws try to fulfill those laws that he was referring to, were attempts to help people be better people according to the ones who came up with those laws. But if you carefully study some of those laws, you realize, for one thing, it's about scaring people into being better people. Jesus was not about that. Jesus wanted to help people heal so that they want to be better. And and they do good because they want to. He gave an opportunity for a rich man to follow him. And what did he tell him? He was telling him, give up all you've got and give to the poor, and then you can follow me. Well, he loved his wealth. And Christians today would say, well, no, that's, this particular man loved money. And so for him, that was the right answer. Well, that blows up when you realize that the first church in Acts was founded with the idea that everyone should have everything in common so that nobody would have to be without. Also said it was how difficult it is for a rich man to get into heaven. Better, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. Well, a rich man might be a little addicted to that symbolic love. That's that fake security. Yeah, once you get addicted to that, then where does the morality come from? Huh? You're all about greed, preserving what you've got. What did Jesus say about that? Well, don't lay up your treasures where they can rust away or thieves can break in and steal it. And, in other words, material wealth that isn't, it's not lasting. It's not, you're not going to take it with you. So, I mean, that's not something he was about, okay? So, Christian nationalism. Well, what kind of Christian? The evangelical type? Well, do they really think that the Catholics are Christians? Well, they think they are. Maybe they won't accept them. So they're not welcome into the country. Well, what about the Gnostic kinds of Christians? The the Friends General Conference Quakers. Well, they're not really Christian. Well, better kick them out too, right? You know. Yeah. So the history is that the churches that were all into politics and running a nation were persecuting the people who didn't agree with them within their own general group of Christianity and other forms of Christianity. And they didn't like that. So people for religious freedom came over to this country, not really thinking initially that it's religious freedom for anybody else, just for them. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they came over. And they were being persecuted over there, where the political Jesus was ruling, that kind of figure. Yeah, they were running from that because they were being tortured, sometimes killed. They came over to this country, and then what did they do? Well, some of them killed each other over whether you should baptize a baby or not, and whether you should sprinkle water in baptism or whether you should be dunked all the way under the water and up. It's a big deal to these people. Yeah, well, we're not that way today, Yeah, sure. You don't have a good history. You don't. And as far as it being quote unquote a Christian nation, even the founding fathers, they really weren't all that Christian after all. They were in a way, but some of them didn't believe in a God that did anything but just set things in motion and walk away. There's indications of that. And also they wanted a separation because of all that persecution and cruelty and whatever. So they did not want the nation, they didn't want political churches into the politics. They didn't want that becoming the government. You think about it, governance is not the job of a church or of a temple or of a mosque. Not really. If you look at the core of all the religions, it's mostly about love. And where it goes beyond that, and they want to harm people and force them to act a certain way, then you seem to find problems, which is why a lot of people today say, I'm spiritual but not religious. Well, I kind of have some sympathy for that. I'm thinking about the times in the Old Testament where, if you wore a shirt, say, or any piece of clothing that had more than one fabric in it, that had, I think, three, or it was a certain number of fabrics you could have, I think. But it was, that could be an abomination. I forget the number. I think maybe it was only one fabric could be used. Look it up. But the point still remains. How many kinds of material can you put into your clothing? Oh, that's an abomination. That was an abomination. You were not to suffer a witch, whatever that is, to live. And the churches in Europe were burning women, and they did that over in this country when they got over here. They would take some lady, and the low lady, and they want her land. And there's a witch. And they take her land. Really? Well, what about she was a real witch? Yeah. If you believe that. Okay, fine. The far right is already called Hillary a demon. Yeah, really, you think Hillary's a demon? Seems like a nice lady to me. So, they're demonizing other people already, left and right. Some of them in this nationalist movement want to go back to slavery. Loving relationships between slaves and slave owners. Yeah, lovely, huh? Unless you're the slave. And when you stop following Jesus, and you just a little bit, when you go and follow the Apostle Paul, for instance, who said to slaves and slave owners, "That's okay. Just be good ones. We're all slaves to God." That's why the South thought they were just fine with their slavery there in the Civil War, It's in the Bible, Think about how they treated women and slaves. There was some kind of rule, whether it's in the Bible or not, I don't know. But you could not, but the general idea, that the man is the king. Women shouldn't be allowed to, I think that was Paul, shouldn't be allowed to speak in the church, Ask your husband at home, you poor thing. Really? Oh my. Yeah, really. He had that opinion. Yeah. He thought everybody should be single, But better to be married than burn with passion. Have all those lustful thoughts. And, but, you gotta understand, these guys were thinking Jesus was coming back any minute. Oh, sounds like today? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So, the idea of a Christian nation, that's, can I say the word? Bonkers? If you want to follow Jesus, that's wonderful. He seems like a great guy. What he taught was caring, right? He did. He didn't teach punishing. When they, according to the New Testament, of course, scholars will say, well, this section or that section's questionable. And they say that about this verse, but he is depicted as someone who told the people about to stone a lady to death. That, hey, any of you without wrongdoing in your life, let that person be the first one to cast a stone. Yeah. Yeah, hypocrites. But here today, yeah, they used to take gay people and burn them at the stake along with the witches. I can just see them, trying to grab, some lady today, drag her off. She's a witch. She doesn't follow the religion I follow. Let's drag her off, and she must be a witch. Anything that's not my religion must be demonic. Let's drag her off and burn her up. And I can hear her now, maybe. I'm not a witch. I'm not a witch. I just had a bad hair day. This Christian nationalist group is laughable, but not when you go to vote. They're no joke. That's what they want. That's what they're talking about. The whole Republican Party. That's why the real party of Lincoln, the Lincoln Project, is going, don't vote for them. Don't vote for them in this election. Don't vote for a single one of them. Why? Because of this. And don't forget, Trump was not speaking up when these people had nooses and were going in to hang his vice president. I think he just said something that was encouraging or something like that, right? Yeah. It's like people that dare to use freedom of speech in one of his rallies. What did he say? Oh my, in the day, they would carry that guy out on a stretcher. Yeah. Yeah, that really sounds like Jesus, doesn't it? Is that Jesus to you? Really? That's Jesus to you. The Trump going, oh, I'm being persecuted like Jesus. Jesus was guiltless. You're guilty, Trump. You're guilty. And you know it. And everybody else knows it. That's why they don't want the cases, the serious ones, to occur right now. Let's just push that away into the future. Yeah, so this channel is about more empathy and awareness. But when you're going to vote, although I don't say you take this as a religion and take over the country, but when you go to vote for somebody who's empathetic, who actually cares about you. That's just good sense. That don't matter what religion you're in. And let the government be the government, Yeah. Yeah, religions as governments. Not a good track record. Definitely not. We tolerate so much of that. And Christians are being persecuted. Really? There isn't a direction I could point where there isn't a Christian church. Somewhere in that line, within not too distant, not too great a distance. Let's see. There's one right down here. Several down this way. Some right down this way. And you go far enough to the south, you see a whole bunch of them there too. Oh, they're being persecuted. Oh, they're trying to get rid of all of these other people, these Democrats trying to get rid of you. Most of the Democrats are Christian. Okay? And the love flow, okay? Remember when Reagan was shot and his other, Irish friend who was also Catholic came in and prayed for him? Wow. We need to bring those days back. Yeah. Trump saying that war heroes that were captured weren't war heroes. Really, you've got to wake up. Yeah, this channel is political to some degree, but we're not trying to force people to be good. We have some reasonable laws and things that should exist. That we all agree on, like don't kill people unless it's in war. Yeah, well, somebody's trying to destroy democracy. You might have to fight, but yeah. But you don't go killing people, for no reason at all. No self-defense, whatever. It's just, wow. That's terrible, right? But by all means, let's have plenty of guns. And the Democratic-run states, where there's bigger cities, have more casualties from guns. But guess where the guns are coming from? Not from there. From the southern states, which anybody can get a gun, right? Anybody. No background check, nothing. And, yeah. Well, mostly poor people are killing each other, so maybe the Republicans nowadays don't care about the poor people. Let them go ahead and get shot. Well, it's not just the poor people getting shot. Crazy people with guns have gone into churches and all kinds of places, shopping malls, I think. Yeah, but anywhere people were gathered together and using weapons that are so close to the same ones that you use in war. Do you really need that? To go hunting? You must be a lousy hunter, if you gotta carry a gun that's almost a machine gun in order to get that deer. Yeah, but so it's kind, they can make sure you kill it. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Yeah, you keep that locked up and only hunt on a certain range, and get your gun out of lockup there. Just for self-defense, you don't need that. Probably the best thing to do if somebody was robbing your house would be to get the heck out like it was a fire, so your family's not in trouble, in danger. Call the police. If you're out in the country, I don't know, maybe you might need a little protection out there, because take them an hour and a half to get out there. And, yeah, so you might have to do that, but I would still have a place to run to and lock it up so that that they couldn't get through and kill you. That would be a nice thing to do there instead, and then call the sheriff or whoever and say, oh well, there's someone they're robbing my house. That makes more sense, doesn't it? A lot of times, in crime, they'll try to get some kid to go out because, they're not going to get prison time. You really want to kill a kid over your TV? Really? I think I'd rather give them the television. That's all they're taking. Yeah, and that can really hurt a poor family to lose a lot of things. I get that. But where's the heart? You know, Jesus is being tortured and says, forgive them. Yeah. The current Republican Party remind me of the lady in this one film where they were guillotining all of the wealthy people, all of the royalty. She was cackling away and guillotine, guillotine, you know. That was very Christian. It was so Christian of her. Yeah. You know, there are better ways to treat one another. They really are. And this channel is about that. It's not about any particular religion. It's about expanding our empathy and our awareness so that we can heal our mind and other minds. Yeah, it's love that heals. And, you know, it takes a while and maybe some therapy, whatever, to help some folks. But it's much better to heal than to punish. You know, and if people are only good because they're scared not to be, wow, that's not a terrific situation, is it? So, please subscribe. You'll be possibly invited, if you want to be, let us know, to Zoom calls when we try to arrange them. And that's, we put, in the Zoom calls, there's the first half, we're going to, we talk about what we're going to do in the Zoom. And those that want to can be in the recorded part, where we do the talking and the discussion. And that way, everybody has a voice. And if you don't want your face, you can, put, there's tricks you can do so, you don't use your camera or whatever, but you use your voice only. That's all good, You're allowed to do that. Yeah, so we're about to destroy the world with some of our childish and cruel ways, and it's really time for us to be wise and caring. Those are two main pillars of Buddhism, by the way, is compassion and wisdom. And Joe's pretty compassionate and pretty wise, in my opinion. You can make your own decision, but in this country, there are only really two parties, and you pick the one you want or risk the one you don't want getting in. That's the way it is. Ranked choice voting, in my opinion, needs to be in every election so that third parties can have a chance. So if your third party, your most preferred party candidate doesn't win, your vote goes to your next in line choice. I don't know how many people know about this. I think there are whole states right now that do that. That's a good idea, don't you think? So if you're a libertarian or a Green Party person, should have a chance to get your people elected. That's my opinion. You want to have greater democracy, vote in the primaries. There's a lot of people to choose from in primaries. Right now, I would say just vote in the primaries for your greater choice in the Democratic Party. A lot of people, they don't vote in the primaries. Nothing's stopping you, usually. There are more choices there. Some places you have to be a Democrat to vote in the primary, the Democratic primary, or Republican to vote in the Republican Party, etc., etc. It's up to you. What do you think about that? Is that the best way to go? Or is it better that primaries are open? People just have more choices, period. Well, that's up to you. This is a 30-minute video already, and I don't want to bore you. I'll give you a piece of beautiful Irish blessing I like, and you can look it up with this one phrase probably. May the road rise to meet you. What a thought, huh? Yeah. And I like to always leave everyone with the thought that the great Carl Sagan, the physicist, gave us when he mentioned that intelligent life, that we are the universe knowing itself. Pretty awesome, right? And that means every single person is that kind of awesome. That kind of wonder. You don't understand another person's views and so on. Remember this. That is a wonder before your eyes. Start with that without making assumptions. And be open to the wonder that that person is, and help them to realize that in themselves. And there's a word that means all of that. But it's not exactly a word, it's a greeting and a goodbye in India. And it's namaste. So I have no problem mixing languages. Yeah. We eat tacos, burritos. Yeah, languages are always merging. And I like that. I like that greeting. I really do. That's up to you. And remember, the views of the channel are not the same as any individual like myself. Not the same thing. The view of the channel is broader. It's just, let's increase empathy and awareness. So what's your way to do it? You know, we welcome your voice. So, let's end this. And I'd like to encourage you to make a better day or night wherever you're at and whatever time it is. For yourself and maybe for others around you. You know you can. Try. So I'll say goodbye with that statement that I just mentioned. Namaste.